Good morning, Magic. I'm Gavin Verhey from Wizards of the Coast. And before you head off to your Streets of New Capenna pre-release this weekend, you did check out my pre-release primer video, right? I wanted to talk a little about the draft and sealed archetypes. You might be able to put these to good use this weekend. 5 of the archetypes, well, those are pretty straightforward. The 3 colors of the 5 crime families of New Capenna. And of course, there are all kinds of other archetypes you can play too. Various 4-color combinations and even 5-color are on the table. Yes, the mana fixing really can be good enough for that. I even, spoiler warning, show off a 4-color deck in my pre-release primer video. But there are also advantages to sticking low to the ground with 2-color decks. In a world where people are spending time fixing their mana with tapped lands, like the 2 cycles of common lands, a focused and even aggressive deck can run people over before they get to cast the powerful 3-color cards they're working toward. And while you can play any 2-color combination, there are 5 in particular that have dedicated themes. The bonus of trying to build toward these dedicated themes is often there are cards that the other decks won't want because they don't match up with those themes. For example, Civil Servant cares about citizens, and even most Cabaretti decks, a deck which has white and green in it, won't be super interested in this. So in a draft, you can get them passed to you, if you know what to look for. And speaking of citizens, let's kick it off with that one, the green-white archetype, Citizens. Using cards like Civil Servant, Darling of the Masses, Ceremonial Groundbreaker, and Angelic Observer, you can go wide with Citizens and use these Citizen Matters cards to lay the smackdown. This deck can pack a punch quickly and really take people down while their decks are getting up and running. Keep an eye out not just for Citizens Matter cards, but some nice inexpensive citizens to sit on your curve too. Backup Agent and Civic Gardener, for example, are normally kind of ho-hum, but in this deck, they make for a great citizen setup. And of course, attention citizens, keep your eyes out to collect as many Gathering Throngs as you can. Moving along, we have the blue-white archetype, counters. No, not counterspells, counters on your creatures. Not only do you get to pick up all the blue and white shield counter cards from the brokers, but you get cards like Metropolis Angel, Celestial Regulator, and Exotic Pets as rewards. What's up, fishes? Even Backstreet Bruiser can hold the ground for you while you get set up. Look for Backup Agent as a key card to get a counter on the board early, alongside creatures that enter with shield counters. Soar over their heads and tempo them out with this strategy. Next up, we have blue-black, which is definitely a trippy one, caring about having 5 or more mana values in your graveyard. This deck wants to dump cards into the graveyard with things like Deal Gone Bad, Connive, or just good old creature combat. Then, once you hit 5 or more different mana values, cards like Syndicate Infiltrator and Snooping Newsy hit their full potential. Don't sleep on cards that can function out of your graveyard in this strategy too, since eventually you'll probably hit redundancy. Cards like Maestro's Initiate and Expendable Lackey just give you free value later on. Keep in mind that lands have mana value 0, so the 2 common land cycles can easily get into your graveyard and help turn this on too. Fourth is the red-black archetype, Sacrifice. You may have seen this one before, but it's got a New Capenna shine this time around. Body Dropper and Forge Boss are 2 cards to really keep an eye out for here, and Pyre Sledge Arsonist, while it takes some setup, can be quite strong as well. Keep in mind that the Arsonist works with the common sacrificing lands too, since it counts all permanents and not just creatures. You can sacrifice plenty of things here. Creature tokens are always nice, but blitzed creatures automatically sacrifice at the end of your turn too. That said, there's nothing quite like casting Involuntary Employment on one of their creatures and sacrificing it just before they can get it back. And finally, it's time for Red-Green Treasure. Red-Black Treasure was a powerful deck in Adventures in the Forgotten Realms Limited, and swapping the black out for green here lets it really pack a beefy punch. Jetmir's Fixer, Security Rocks, and Stimulus Package are all cards to be on the lookout for, which give you rewards for making treasure. But one which may slip under your radar is Sticky Fingers. Normally, auras like this aren't super hot, but giving you a repeated source of treasure and then replacing itself when the creature dies is better than it looks. And let's not forget treasure also just ramps you. You can scoop up some late rocks pummelers or cleanup crews and, well, clean this game up. Which of these 5 draft archetypes are you most excited about trying? Sound off in the comments down below. I'll talk with you again on Monday. And in the meantime, have a blast trying some of these out at the pre-release this weekend. You got this.
This is a really nice card. It's 3 mana and essentially lets you draw a card as soon as there's a creature in the graveyard, so that's pretty great. This is a board sweeper that will shrink one of their things to make sure one of yours stays alive, so that's an awesome card to have. Your couple mana fixtures here, really solid. This Errant is really only good if you're doing a lot of splattering, or excuse me.